Nothing I'm about to recommend in any way impinges on the Second Amendment. They're phony arguments suggesting that these are Second Amendment rights at stake from what we're talking about. But no amendment to the Constitution is absolute.
Democrats love to talk about gun control and all of that, and they like to put infringements on that for adults, and I think that's pretty insane. But I also think when the president said yesterday that no right is absolute, Americans should really be wary of that.
This is Juan Mendoza reporting for Rebel News. I'm here today at the Young Women's Leadership Summit in Dallas, Texas, and I have with me Libby Emmons, Chief Editor for the Millennial. Thank you very much for talking with us.
Thanks so much. Glad to be here.
So, what was your main motivation for attending this event here today?
I think it's a really interesting event. I think it's great for conservative women to come together and form community, meet each other, realize that they're not alone in their communities back home. And it's interesting. There's a lot of interesting speakers and conversations. So yeah, that's why I'm out here.
Yeah, I see. What do you think are the people here attending this event are expecting for it? I mean, it is a midterm year, and there's definitely a lot of Republicans that are getting a lot of coverage and support right now. Mm-hmm. So what do you think are the goals here for this summit?
Well, politics is certainly a motivation, and that's a motivation for a lot of people. As you said, it is a midterm year, but I think a lot of what TPUSA does is cultural. It's about, as I said, bringing people together, but it's also about influencing the conversation away from politics and into people's personal lives, making sure that people feel that they can express themselves, not just in the political realm, but in the cultural space as well. Speaking up at school boards, all of these kinds of things I think are really relevant and important today and go beyond politics.
And a lot of people here, they're also upset with the Biden administration, especially with him stating that no amendment is absolute.
Nothing I'm about to recommend in any way impinges on the Second Amendment. They're phony arguments suggesting that these are Second Amendment rights at stake from what we're talking about. But no amendment to the Constitution is absolute.
So what are your thoughts about all that?
Yeah, well, the Biden administration and a lot of Democrats love to talk about gun control and all of that, and they like to put infringements on that for adults, and I think that's pretty insane. But I also think when the president said yesterday that no right is absolute, Americans should really be wary of that, because he's talking about the right to not have unreasonable search and seizure. He's talking about Fifth Amendment rights, the right to not self-incriminate. He's talking about jury trials and not having excessive cash bail. All of these things, the Quartering Act, he's talking about all of these rights and saying that they're not absolute. And I think that Americans need to believe that their rights are absolute. They're not given to us by the government, they're given to us by God. They're our natural rights. And no leader, no man can infringe upon those rights. Perhaps the administration will walk back Biden's words, as they do repeatedly, but I think they told us what they really mean, which is that they're in charge of what our rights are and we are not. And the government is there to uphold our rights. They're not there to infringe upon them at all. And if they do, we really need to get them out of office, because that's not what the federal government is there to do.
Thank you very much for checking out our videos here of our coverage of the Young Women's Leadership Summit here in Dallas, Texas. We got a lot of good content here. We spoke to many people of many different backgrounds here. So if you would like to help us fund these trips and ensure that we can cover more events such as these, please go to tpusareports.com.